422-4200. Harvest Reapers International School of Ministry, here to equip, qualify, and certify members of the body of Christ for kingdom building in just 6 short weeks. So call today and register. 754-422-4200.
Gospel United to Save. It's the Gospel Show, a variety talk show with a Christian view. Your host, Nikki B, featuring open discussion, event spotlight, and special guests. Tune in weekdays 3 times a day. Wake up for the morning show at 7 a.m. Tune in for the midday show at 3:30 p.m. and ride home with the evening show at 6 p.m. And Saturdays at 10 a.m. The Gospel Show. Gospel Show with your host, Nikki B. Gospel United to Save. Tune in and log in. Let's talk about it, laugh about it, and pray about it with Nikki B. right here on this station. Tune in online and listen to it on the internet. www.gotsave.web.com. It's the Gospel Show. Gospel United to Save. A variety talk show with a Christian view.
This commercial is sponsored by Rhythmic Gospel Network, where we're replacing the blues with the good news.
Well, we're back with more stuff in the United States. The information for transformation within South Florida and all over the world. All right, I'll tell the point of view on people who have to tell somebody about Jesus. We'll say a big, hey, how do you do to cow folks in the room with us, and we thank God for the rest of you all who are tuned in and listening in. By the way, you can call us toll free, 877-217-5375. That's 877-217-5375. Or join us on the internet, gutsay.com. That's GUCSAY.com, gutsay.com. Now, a little news you can use, something I thought interesting. Maybe you will as well. As a matter of fact, my dog seems to find it very interesting. He's over here barking away. West challenges results as Florida declares the vote tally over amid recounts and irregularities. Yes, it's Florida again, but thank God it had nothing to do with the presidential race. But I tell you what, Florida is always messing something up some kind of way. Florida Republican Representative Alan West continues to challenge election official tallies that show he has lost the re-election bid amid wild ballot swings on Tuesday and a partial recount needed because of voting machine problems. The Tea Party-backed West demanded a recount after the swing of votes on election night, leading Democratic challenger Patrick Murphy by roughly 2,000 votes, then trailing by 2,400 votes about 35 minutes later. Officials said Saturday a final tally in the state's 18th congressional district shows Murphy had won by enough votes to avoid a full recount. But they then agreed to a partial recount of early votes in St. Lucie County after acknowledging some votes had been counted twice. That recount resulted in minor changes in the numbers, with West, still behind. West, with his campaign, though, objected to just a partial recount of votes cast November 1st through the 3rd, arguing the irregularity calls for a full audit. If people are that adamant about getting rid of me, that's fine, West told Fox News on Monday, but don't do it at the expense of the integrity of our electoral process. That's what disturbs me the most. The West team is singling out County Supervisor of Elections Gertrude Walker and requesting a comparison of voter signatures from all polling places with the total ballots counted because the numbers do not appear to match. Officials have already stated they had a 141 precinct voter turnout, which I think should cause everyone alarm, West told Fox. He also said Murphy officials were allowed to observe the Sunday's recount, but West were not. St. Lucie County's Assistant Attorney Heather Young told NBC that the recount was related to computer memory cards that record the ballots when fed through voting machines. Officials said Saturday that West lost by 2,442 votes. The partial recount changed the final tally by several hundred votes. but officials have not changed the final but unofficial outcome to say that the new tally is not enough for a full recall election. However, Jeffrey Scott Shapiro, a volunteer lawyer for West's campaign, thinks a full recount of early votes should give the congressman the extra votes needed to trigger an automatic recount. We're close, very close, said Shapiro, a member of Democratic Senator John Kerry's 2004 presidential campaign team. It would be irrational at this stage to concede without making sure that every single vote is counted and that the democratic process is preserved. Officials also allowed for additional vote counting in Palm Beach County before issuing the tally Saturday. West's only option now appears to be through the courts. West 51 is one of the only two black Republicans in the House. He had a constant string of headline-grabbing statements, from calling a majority of congressional Democrats communists to saying President Obama, Representative Nancy Pelosi, and others should get the hell out of the United States. Murphy, 29, was a political newcomer who portrayed West as an extremist who has done little else in Washington than stroke partisan fires. So, Mr. West is just not going to give up. It looks like he's going to keep going until he can get the result he wants. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen that way. And we thank God for being in sunny Florida, although some people are feeling the brr and the cold. We are praying for those people in New York, though. Sandy did leave a lot of people without electricity, which means they have no heat either. And that, I believe, is the worst part of it all. Not having any electricity is bad, but not being able to keep warm is the part I think is probably notably the worst part. So we do thank God for each and every one of you tuning into the broadcast, and we are indeed praying for our electoral process, for our government officials, and we thank God for that. We thank God for being able to do that, and we appreciate it. So we appreciate everyone's comments and thoughts and helping us to be able to do our show and be able to bring our show to various diverse people and to expand who we get to talk to in the various areas. Now, I would like to get back to our series. We've talked about a couple of different things, and we are enjoying the way that things are going, and we definitely, again, appreciate everyone who is included in our segments and who would be a part of what we're doing and help us to do some of the things that we do. It's quite exciting, really, and we are absolutely happy to share with everyone. And we're going to definitely check out some of the things that people are telling us about. We appreciate you so much, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show enough to share that with me so that I might be able to share with more people all over the globe. Now, we're in Acts chapter 28, verses 7 through 10. In the same quarters were possessions of the chief man of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. So when this was done, others also, which had diseases on the island, came and were healed, who also honored us with many honors. And when we departed, they laded us with much things as were necessary. They laded us with much things as were necessary. Now, the difference between this and some other people, because I often hear preachers say that, see, it's not bad that people give me stuff. No, it's not bad that they do it, but Paul didn't ask them. He healed, and then they gave. It wasn't a prerequisite to the healing. I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to make a point. sometimes we engage in things and we say, but it's the people's obligation to bless me because I healed them. No, it is indeed not the people's obligation to bless you because you healed them. It's the people, you need to heal the folks because you've been given the gift of healing. And should you in return get something, that's awesome. That's great. Should in return these people see your kindness and do something else, then that's awesome. And we do say God bless you too, Cowpoke. Thank you so much for joining in and being there and hanging in there. We do thank God for you all, and we thank God for them who are tuning in and who are engaging in what's getting ready to take place and what's getting ready to happen right here and right now. And we are beginning stages of trying to continue this study 7 through 10. And we want to kind of go on in giving some understanding on those verses before we close out this particular edition. Now, near the site where the ship wrecked was the estate of Publius, Malta's chief magistrate and leading citizen. The Greek term meant literally the main one, or as we say today, the top guy, the head chief, the president. I don't know, whatever you want to call him. He was the main dude. Publius must have been of great wealth. After all, in verse 7, Luke says he received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. Now, remember, we're still talking about 276 people. Receive did not mean to personally accept people's presence, but to actively extend hospitality in welcoming guests. The last word in verse 7 is courteously, means in a friendly manner. There's no way to tell whether us means a few people, Paul, Luke, Aristarchus, and maybe the ship's captain, its owner, and Julius, the Roman officials, as some commentators presume, or all 276 stranded victims. Luke's point is that everyone on Malta treated the ship's survivors with exceptional care, even though they understood that this was a prison ship. While enjoying Publius' generosity, Paul learned that his host's father lay confined to his bed by recurring bouts of fever and bloody diarrhea. Paul took the initiative to visit the man as he believed he should do to support the weak. After entering the man's room, Paul approached his bed and, as Jesus often did, laid his hand on the man and prayed. In Acts 28:8, Luke says what Paul did. He healed him. Now, our text, verse 9, gives no indication that Publius sought or expected Paul's miraculous intervention. Likely he saw his father's condition as beyond hope of recovery. When word got out that Publius' desperately ill father had been healed, sick people from across the island flooded to where Paul was and were healed. The father's healing described a miraculous instant freedom from his ailments, whereas the basic meaning of the word used for the other healings is to serve. When applied to sickness, it often referred to medical treatment. Now, our text doesn't really say the island's sick people came to Paul. It simply says they came. The different words may well suggest two different forms of divine healing. Through miraculous divine intervention, when the condition is beyond human help, and by Christian ministry. 3 months passed before another ship arrived when Julius could finish transporting Paul and his other prisoners on to Rome. During those 3 months, in verse 10, Luke says the people showered us, not simply Paul, with many honors. This once again supports the possibility that ministry by other Christians, in addition to Paul, is in view here. Although Luke's word could refer to things with material value or price here, the word points to expressions of affection, respect, and deep feelings. As Paul sailed away to trial in Rome, the islanders showed their esteem by loading the ship with things needed to ensure a pleasant journey. So who did Paul heal while on the island of Malta? The answer, Publius, his father, and other inhabitants of the island. And so we want to thank you all again for tuning into the broadcast. You are tuned in to Gospel United Faith. bring you